quite yet. Okay, there we go. We'll remove all the X's here. Whoa!
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't kidding when I said these guys pretty much play the exact same way. They pretty much play the exact same way. They
Okay.
both attack the board with very aggressive styles. They both value, the ability to make more decisions a lot more than their opponent does on average. And it's just they just have such. It's crazy to like watch these two players side by side. Like when you really look at their games and analyze them. I mean, I basically watch Hearthstone VODs for a living,
Uh-huh.
and it's like these two guys are like neck and neck on how they play. Like if Lifecoach had the time to play more tournaments, I think given enough time to play them, granted he needs twice as long as Strifecro does, you're gonna see him again start to put up these kinds of results. And from what I understand, their deck lists are going to be very similar. The play styles again going to be very similar. I have no idea how this one's going to end up panning out because it's very rare that you see anyone who's even capable of playing on Strifecro's level. And now you're going to see a mirror match of that. And here's the other thing too: is that both of these guys are very intelligent players, and they're thinking
Right.
about what their opponents are thinking. They have to be aware that the other person is playing the way that they're playing. And I'm curious if they're going to make adaptations to that, or if they're going to just try to play the exact same game that they always have and see if they can just beat their opponent.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I'm not really sure if actually are they playing the kind of the same druid list?
Well, Strifecro's playing Zombie Chows in a ramp druid list.
Right.
And if we remember correctly, I'm sorry, Life Coach is playing. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
playing
Yeah,
ramp druid, right?
yeah, Lifecoach is playing Rapture too, but there might be some differences. I think the main difference right now between Rapture is if they run the BG targets or not, right? I believe Strifeco is not even running Dr. Broom in this druid list, so that is pretty interesting. It's interesting to also note that before GVG came out, everybody rated Trogzor as one of the best 7 drops, but then nobody ended up playing them. They were giving arguments such as they can't play any spells. If they do, you're gonna get a lot of value. Trogzor doesn't get out of the BGH range, for example. But why is this card not seeing play?
I think the major difference is just how strong minions were. Like Doctor Boom being a lot stronger than everyone anticipated it being, except for a handful of people who just recognize the power of that card.
Hmm.
It contests Trogzor very well. And I think it's one of the reasons it's actually being held down. A lot less to do with Trogzor not being good, because the card I think is very good, and a lot
Okay.
more to do with just the fact that the minions that decks that will play lots of spells
Uh-huh.
play, Doctor Boom is one of them. And Doctor Boom just happens to straight up contest the card and get extra value from it. So it's like it's going the one step ahead. Like Trogzor is getting value from spells, but Doctor Boom is getting value from cards like Trogzor.
I see. So that's actually a stomp. If in a environment where both are played, then the person with Dr. Boom usually just wins.
Yeah.
And of course, Dr. Boom does require an answer immediately, because otherwise those 2 boom bots are annoying enough, right? So you better remove the main body. So it's just a pretty crazy card there.
Yeah. Just a lot of stuff going on. I mean, just there is power in just attacking. And some even if you're just attacking for 2, if you just don't deal with the boom bots, 3 turns later you've taken 6 damage from his battle cry, or it's dealt damage to your minions, and then you're also have the potential to take more damage from the battle cry. Like it's just worth so much, and each boombot is going to be 2.5 damage on death rattle, and then 1 damage on its power. So they're each dealing 3.5 damage, and then plus the 7 damage from Doctor Boom. It's like 13.5 average damage when you have to kill it with minion attacks.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think if boombots actually targeted random stuff, like including your own minions and your own hero?
I think it'd be bad then. It would just be a liability.
Oh, I mean, it's still a 7/7 with 2 boombots that you can hit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're the one initiating the attack, and you get 1 damage off of the for the minion, right? I kind of treat like the extra damage from the boombot to be like an extra thing. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
extra things should not be always good.
The problem you're gonna have is when you play Doctor Boom and someone whirlwinds, and then both the boombots hit the Doctor Boom and he dies.
Oh,
You're never gonna play that card again after that.
uh, well, I
um,
mean, would it
I
be more balanced, for example?
I
Would
think
be
I think
for example?
well, Kit Kat's had a really good fix on actually on the first Talkstone episode where he said that
Uh-huh.
he thinks that Doctor Boom's death rattle should be summoned to boombots,
Okay.
which I was like, oh, that's perfect because you still get the boombots out of it, but not everything hits you at once.
Sure. But what if does that indirectly nerf mind control tech, for example? Like, there's a lot of like levels here, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine to indirectly nerf mind control deck, a card that's already like a pretty
Niche
niche
card.
card anyway. And like
Uh,
it, I don't think that like Doctor Boom was originally the reason it was used, but the real reason it was used, Firebat really broke it down. I was trying to figure out ways to say it, and I just couldn't do it. And he broke it down super well, where he said that in a deck like Ramp Druid, you surrender the board early, and when you surrender the board early, your opponent's going to get to 4 minions very often. And then when your opponent gets to 4 minions, you make up the value with mind control tech, and then start playing big taunts to get the rest of it back.
and the big bombs as well. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, so yeah, players should be heading to the game soon. They're just starting it up, and of course, this is the exact mirror match, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the player strategy are. If they are as if they play as as you said, Admirable, then maybe they both will start with the same deck. I would personally predict both players playing Druid here.
That's what I've been predicting the entire tournament. And then in the last match, of course, they started with Mech Mage and Paladin.
Yeah, which is completely blowing
Yeah.
things apart.
I can see both of them starting with Mech Mage.
Mm-hmm.
Really, all of them make sense to me except for leading with Handlock. Handlock to me
Sure.
makes the
Palo
least
seems
sense.
like it really wants to target one of these other matchups. I mean, once again, Hadlock versus Mage. I feel like Hadlock does have a very good it has a good lots of ways to deal with it. Sludge Belcher and TQ Bot, they both heal for 7 and 8 respectively in a sense. And you also have like a wall of taunts. So if especially if the Mage doesn't have a good start, I think the Hadlock it's just gonna run over to the game.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see more of that matchup. That's one of the ones that I really, really want to see more of is Handlock versus Mech Mage. Because the other thing too is I think one of the ways that you can get such a distinct edge, and this may have been one of the ways that I was actually getting it too, is that Mirror Entity is so good sometimes versus Handlock. Like you
Yep.
just blow them out of the water with it, and Lifecoach is playing 2 Bad Scientists and playing 2 Mirror Entity.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Strifecro isn't like really careful or like able to play like a Sun Fury Protector or an Ancient Watcher into it, he's just
Right.
gonna get he's gonna get crushed. He's gonna give his opponent an 8/8 off of a Death Rattle.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I think Hanlon, in one of those ways, because they do have these Ancient Watchers and Sunfairy Protectors, and even with like Zombie Chow, for example, that are popping up in some Handlock lists, it's just a better matchup than a Druid, right? Let me a Ramp Druid. Well, a Ramp Druid is fine, but then because they have Zombie Chows, right? But if it's like a combo Druid, the smallest minion you can give to your opponent is a Shade, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You don't want to give them a Druid Claw. You don't want to give them a Belcher or a Spectral Knight if you play one. Ancient of Lore seems pretty bad as well. So it's just really, really bad.
Yeah, that's one of those cards that is a blowout scenario. That's one partially the reason I hate playing against it as I'm Druid. Is just everything they have at every step of the way seems like it's as efficient as you, except it's like 1 mana step ahead of the curve, and you fall behind the entire game. It's gonna be underway. I said Handlock was the only one that didn't make sense to me. Of course, so both of them are thinking about that, and they're like, if Handlock doesn't make any sense, that means I should play Handlock. So both of them have started Handlock instead, of course.
And whoa,
Strifeco's just gonna coup it straight away too, and wow, I'm stunned right now. I have no idea what's going on. I guess he just really doesn't want to play the mirror match that badly. Is really what it is. I'm so surprised about because Handlock actually doesn't feel like it's that good versus these matchups. I guess it makes sense to just start with it right out of the gate. And a lot of people are kind of thinking along the lines of like, well, I thought Handlock was good versus Druid. It definitely used to be, but lately we've just been seeing Handlock get dismantled by Druid just every single time. And Paladin, the deck that we always thought was so good against Handlock, hasn't been doing very well. And as Amaz mentioned, I think it was on day one, it's just so many of these Paladin decks have only been running 1 equality lately because they just need access to it. They don't necessarily need to draw one. It's not like pre-GVG where you had to have 2 Wild Pyromancers and 2 equalities.
Right. Isn't it that one time in the meta was like Sea Story Cup where you run 2 Doom Hammers, not because you want to use 2, it's just because you want to draw that one really, really badly?
Yeah, Chalky actually did that at stage 2 of BlizzCon qualifiers too, where he ran 2 Doom Hammers, and it's because he just wanted to drop one on turn 5 and start getting them. And I mean that sort of strategy is very similar. Like when Paladin needs to draw a quality, you should play 2 qualities, but it doesn't always need to draw one.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes you just play two cards just because you want to use one faster than the other one. You do have like 30 cards in your deck, right? So, putting two cards instead of one does double the chances of you drawing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Strifecro is pretty happy right now. I'm not really sure what's happening there.
Looks like he's reading some internet comics. He's like, "Oh, Garfield, you're so silly."
His smile is so funny. Oh man, Strifecro is one of the best smiles, don't you think?
Yeah, he's just a good guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely reading Garfield comics. You can just tell. That's exactly how long it takes to read the ones in the Sunday's paper. By the way.
Really?
Yeah, and him and I live in the same. We live in the Houston area, so we're both getting the same newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. That's what he's doing.
Well,
Bet the farm.
Well, yeah. We'll definitely see what's happening. Oh, I guess we just got word of the delay. It so happened that Lifecoach accidentally picked Warlock again. So we have to like restart this. We had to make another game basically. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah, if I could just ignore my opponent's coup, I think that's a really good strategy. Also, just completely ignore the rules of the tournament and do whatever you want, and then you're good.
Yeah. So
that's a solid. That plan sounds solid.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm gonna use my coup to coup your coup. Actually, just
I'll just coup your coup out of the way, so you can't coup.
Yeah.
The deck that I don't want you to coup.
Oh boy.
I think Lifecoach is gonna go with Druid.
I think Lifecoach is gonna go with Druid as well. But then because once again Paladin is pretty weak and maybe it's just like not that insane.
Does have two mirror entities in his mage deck though.
That's true, but once again, with the it depends on what Strifecro runs, right? Yeah, Lifecoach is gonna go with the Druid like we predicted, and here we go.
And we'll get his hand up in a second, as soon as we get that available.
Oh,
and
there
it is.
Oh, there you go. Just needed to reset the screen there.
Yo, that is not a good one, but it's not a bad one. He's got some utility early on.
Okay.
But two Ancient Allures sitting in his hand looks really ugly right now.
They do look pretty zen. Their pose is like the yoga pose, right? The meditation pose. So they look pretty. You can't say they don't look pretty.
Namaste.
Okay. Well, Strifecro here is obviously going to attack for the next 2 turns. Hopefully draw a threat that he can actually play at turn 4. Lifecoach, on the other hand, he could choose to coin a Shade here, but it'll also render his turn's pretty bad. He'll really need to draw like a 5-drop or even an Innervate, because these turns just look pretty ugly.
I don't mind coining a Shade here because he knows he's playing against Handlock.
Okay.
So, coupled with the Wrath, the Shade can deal with a Giant if he decides to coin it out now.
Okay.
Or he can even choose to use Savage Roar and pay some life. I actually like coining the Shade here. And it's very rare that I like doing something like this when you don't have like a turn 3 or a turn 4 play. But if his plan right now is to play turn 6 Ancient of Lore, I think he's just gonna end up losing because he didn't do very much.
All right.
I can see there's a lot of benefits to saving it, of course, though, too, because this isn't accounting for the times that like he draws a 4-drop and needs to coin it out next turn, or he draws a 5-drop and wants to coin it out on turn 4. So. I mean, there are definitely merits to both sides, but I don't like if he chose to coin Shade here, I wouldn't have thought it's a terrible play by any means.
Yeah, that's true. Strifecro still hasn't found a threat yet, so still searching really hard. Lifecoach here, turn 3 Shade. That just seems a bit better than coining a Shade. Keeping the coin for maybe a possible keep the Grove at turn 5 to use that to hero power the Twilight Drake, or even the turn 6 Ancient of Lore. But man, that kind of hand isn't really that good. And hey, we were mistaken. Lifecoach is actually playing the Combo Druid.
Yeah, I don't actually, for whatever reason, I just really don't remember him playing this Druid deck. Maybe we just actually didn't see it play. Did he get it cooed?
I actually don't really remember. Huh. We only get to see Lifecoach play once, right? So, yeah.
Strifecro's hand not looking too exciting at the moment.
Not indeed.
What do you think of the merits of just Hellfiring here?
I mean, you could. At the same time, you can also tap and play a Watcher and search for more threats, but the Shade is always going to be there, right? So, yeah, Strifeco's going to just spend his turn to get rid of the Shade. But fortunately for Strifecro, Lifecoach doesn't have a very good turn here. Like, wow.
Well, no,
Those
this
are
is an excellent turn. He could
so
hero power. He could savage roar. He could keep his opponent's face for 2 when the silence is an absolutely crucial mechanism in this matchup.
well, Lifecoach is like looking at this hand and going like, what the heck is this?
Master level hero power. He has
Wow.
nothing to do. This hand is awful.
You know, keep up the groving your opponent's face is actually worse than a Stormer Knight, you know? You might as well be playing Stormer Knight by then.
For the king.
For the king.
For honor.
Yeah.
It's like the least exciting card in the game.
Oh, man. It's okay.
Lothab gonna get jammed down here by Strifecro. And Lifecoach is just gonna play a turn 5 Shade and hero power.
Nice.
My goodness, what an ugly hand this has been so far.
Well, it's better than if he didn't draw the Shade, would it just been like a turn 5 hero power and pass?
I think he would have ended up keeping the Lothab for 2.
Really?
Yeah, you just got to get something going. You can't just let the Lothabs hit you for like 15 or whatever.
Right, but that's really, really ugly. Lifecoach here decided not to attack with his face. The chat is all gonna go like 1 miss damage, you know?
Now when he's 1 damage off a lethal.
No, we're just gonna spam misplay. Yeah. Damn it, Twitch chat. But yeah, obviously Lifecoach is playing around like a Molten Giant a little bit way earlier beforehand. Strifecro on the other hand here does notice that. So he's just gonna tap here and go to the Molten Giant range himself. That's one of them.
I'm curious if he's gonna taunt up Lothab or just taunt up the Sun Fury.
I'm
sorry, just taunt up the Ancient Watcher.
Taunt up the
Sun Fury. Yeah, I like doing this. This keeps him really not. This helps avoid some of the consequences of Black Knight. Like if he had taunted up Lothab and Lifecoach had Black Knight here, he would just lose his 5/5 that can attack versus his 4/5 that can't attack.
So now, in Lifecoach's position, what the heck do you do? All these cards are just bad, and if you coin an Ancient of Lore here, you just do you actually lose a card? No,
Yeah,
not really.
No, you get a 7 and then you get a 9.
Yeah, but oh man,
It doesn't really have anything to do, honestly. Yeah, he doesn't really have anything else to do.
Yeah. Wow, these are all cantrips. Okay, swipe is something, I guess.
Oh, back-to-back Molten Giant draws. Maybe that 1 damage. He's just a genius. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna deal 1 less. Strike's running 1 golden Molten Giant and 1 regular Molten Giant.
Wait, we see a lot of people do this. Is there actually a benefit to doing this?
I don't know anymore. Now I'm curious because Strifecro like never plays his cards this way.
Yeah. Wait, if Strifecro is doing it and other people are doing it as well, then something must be up.
Yeah, we need to investigate this.
Yeah, we definitely do. But here for Strifecro, I guess tapping is really, really strong here because you want to get the Molten Giants out of the way. But of course, you're against the Druid, so you're always scared of the combo. What do you do here? 7 Souls thing.
It's really tough to say. It's like, I mean, I think trading is definitely an option here.
Ooh, Hellfire gonna be used offensively, and now he's down to 14 health. He does that to combo Druid, but hey, look at those Molten Giants. Those are looking playable.
Big Game Hunter shows up, though.
That's a lot of cards for Lifecoach's hand. Look at the hand.
He's the only person I've ever met that can just end up with this many cards in his hand every single game.
Oh my god. Well, what do you do here? I mean, keeping the Lothab looks pretty tasty, but you do not have a follow-up. I guess your follow-up is to just Wrath the Ancient Watcher, right? Or just do it.
I don't really know if you need to Wrath the Ancient Watcher. You could also, I mean, Azure Drake and then here Wrath for 2 on the Lothab isn't bad either.
Right, but then you lose a card, right?
No. Wait, do you?
Yeah,
10.
you draw a card with each of those.
Yeah,
So
you're
that
right. You're right.
again. That's really awkward.
What was I thinking?
Well, I guess, do you actually, well, I guess you just wrap for 4 then, right?
If that's the case, I'd rather just not use Azure Drake.
Hmm. Ancient of Lore is not usable as well here, right? So it's like, oh man. All of these
He
cards
could
are
have healed
actually-
for 5.
But then it dies to like the Lothab as well. Azure is gonna see play here. Lothab would have been pretty good here as well, right? Wrath for 4 damage, most likely here. Yep.
Oh gosh.
This is so awkward. Back to Strifecro side. I mean, if you're handlock and you looked at the Druid not able to play any of cards, aren't you scared of something like, BGHs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they certainly come into account. And with this many cards in hand, it would be very surprising for me if Strifecro didn't do something to fortify his health position this turn, which I imagine is going to be Sludge Belcher.
You know what? How do you like silencing this, training Drake, tapping, and then playing the 2 Molten Giants?
I think it's fine, but he definitely has to be concerned with when this many cards are in hand, you definitely have to be concerned with like Innervate combo stuff.
Innervate combo. I never play around Innervate because every time I try to play around Innervate, you just lose. Yeah, that card is just like you can't play around it. If someone draws an Innervate, I wish it was just like show like face up. So
but he certainly can play around it here. He just plays Sludge Belcher and then bam, he's played around Innervate.
Well, yeah, but then you don't establish super board, right? Like the Molten Giants would have been superb.
Well, you can't have everything you want, can you, Amaz? The Rolling Stones told me that. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes,
Gotta try
might
hard.
find. If you try hard sometimes, you might find.
Definitely. So now what? Lifecoach has 8 mana. Man, all these cards are pretty hard to see. It does have 2 keepers. Does have the swipe and it's so funny because you can't play any cards that draw cards.
Yeah, this is a pretty strange spot to be in. I mean, this is really rare that you see someone just unable to actually draw cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind swiping and wrathing for 1. It just you have to get something done. Okay. And none of these cards do anything right now.
Well, how about just throw a keeper out there to ping the Belcher off after swiping it?
Do you like that more than trying to dig for Innervate?
I don't want to dig for any more cards at this point. Oh, wow.
Lifecoach disagrees. He's going to dig straight away and finds another card that can help him dig in a couple of turns here.
This is such a weird thing. Like, Druids actually do not like his cards. It's the weirdest thing ever. The Silence is going to come down here most likely. And opens Lifecoach up to the combo victory here. Man, this is some weird stuff.
It's not attacking
too. This is really scary for Strifecro right now.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta believe he really wants to play a Molten Giant in Antique Healbot this turn.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's gonna get a Rude Awakening if he does that.
Which is?
The Big Game Hunter in Lifecoach's hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's gonna go with Mortal Coil instead.
Okay.
Wow, so patient. Oh, picks up Earthen Farseer.
Not a card we see often, but when it does see play, it does surprise your opponent a lot. What else can you do? Strifecro, you wanna Molten and Farseer yourself, right?
I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
That Silence is a very suspicious. Right? You have 8 cards, and you chose to Wrath for a card, and then Silence. Very suspicious.
If my opponent had done this, I would definitely assume that they had combo. Like, there's really no way around it.
Right. So yeah, there you go. Strifecro just heal up a little bit.
Oh gosh.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, Big Game Hunter almost for sure happening.
Along with 6 mana. What you do with 6 mana? Play Lothab. Lothab is pretty good.
Is that 5 cost a Lothab? Oh, he's got an Azure Drake and a Lothab. It's so hard to see these cards in hand. Like
Yeah,
it's
because there's a lot of cards. It's very rare that we see druids have that many cards, right?
it's pretty rare to see anyone have 10 cards in their hand.
That's not a handlock, right?
Yeah.
All right, BG is gonna shoot this Molten back to the well, Molten Cave, I guess, and Lothar is gonna come down here to seal out some of Strifecro's outs. Well, this is a lot of pressure for Strifecro to deal with.
Ooh, Jiraxis gets picked up. That's not going to be good for a very long time, though.
Mm-hmm.
Strifecro's looking like he's in pretty dire straits here, actually.
Yeah.
This is just, I mean, he doesn't have a way to taunt at all. And these minions don't threaten what's happening on the board. Siphon Soul costs 11 mana right now. I don't actually know if he can win this game.
Well, he needs to tap right now. He doesn't know. I mean, we know that he needs to tap because currently his answers can't really do anything. I mean, if he trades for the BGH and plays anti-Killbot, does he live?
He's going to go to 25. And then he's facing down 21 points of damage. I mean, he'll live, but you have to consider how he eventually gets to a winning position.
Oh,
entirely. Ooh, Sludge Belcher might be able to help this out a little bit.
A tiny bit. Do you just play the BGH because I mean your opponent is playing like a more of a combo version and okay. Strifecro is not dead yet because Lothar only pushes 7 damage, and 7 plus 14 in my opinion, or in my professional Hearthstone career, I can count is 21.
Wow, Lifecoach is playing 2 copies of Big Game Hunter.
2
in his
copies.
Druid deck.
Wow. So even yet another dead card right now, right?
Well, I mean, sort of. I mean, that it's gonna be good eventually.
Right. But I mean, I think if I'm Lifecoach, I'm looking to end the game ASAP, right? I mean, you are sitting at 15 health when you're Lifecoach. Like, you're not that comfortable as well. You just started Dark Bombs and Hellfires and whatnot. Well, Hellfires, both Hellfires are yours, so you're okay with that. But even the handlocks have a little bit around reach with like silencing the Watcher and double Dark Bomb for 10 damage.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a swipe and a keeper here. Just get some extra stuff on the board because again, the more stuff you have on the board, the more damage that Savage Roar effectively deals. So if he can just get to a spot where he's got board presence and he's keeping the lead the entire step of the way, eventually he can just grind out Strifecro for most of his reasonable threats and go forward from there.
Oh!
Wow. Is Lifecoach just going to go all in this turn?
Whoa.
Oh my. Wait, is he clearing or is he just straight up going all in? Wow, Lifecoach is going all in, and he's going to put Strifecro down to 2.
And you know what that means? What is the card that gives us the most health right now?
I mean, it's got to... Wait, hang on a second. Does he even need to play Jiraxis this turn? So if he plays Molten Giant, he can heal for 6. They'll put him at 8. Yeah, he needs to go above 8. That's for sure. Because
he does play the Jiraxis.
I think you've got to be afraid to double swipe this turn.
Wow. Well, what happens if your opponent has another second combo, you know? You still have to play Jiraxis.
There's no way to play around that, really. I mean, if your opponent has a second combo, you're going to go to fall to 1. And then,
then you're gonna go like, right? And then your opponent plays double swipe on you. Oh my god, damn it, Druids.
Yeah, I actually really like Lifecoach's play here though. He doesn't have like a ton of reasonable options last turn, and he does have 2 swipes in his hand. He's already seen an Antique Healbot and an Earthring Farseer come out, so it's not too terribly likely he's got a ton of heals. But he's not gonna face Strifecro anymore. He's gonna face Jiraxis. Strifecro's moving back up to 15. Lothab's going to die here, and he's got 11 points of damage on the board next turn. And with the Iron Beak Owl, he's actually got 15, but Lifecoach is down to 12. And that is not the way to end this game right now. He's got Big Game Hunter to try to extend this turn, but he's got to get some presence down, and he's got to make some moves fast, or this game is quickly going to slip out of control.
Well, I mean, the Sky Golem is not that bad. I mean, you can squeeze it in along with the BGH, but we see that Strifecro has the exact answer, and now every turn it's going to be 3 damage to the face and a 6/6. How long can Lifecoach even survive with this kind of pressure?
I mean, not too terribly long. I mean, he's facing down 7 just straight away, just from the silence and the weapon that he's got. And he's down to 12.
12 health. Man, I just don't feel like in the early turns, I feel like the druid is always in the commanding position. It's like, where did this damage come from, right? How did Strifecro hit Life Coach for 20, about like 20 damage, you know?
Just kind of out of nowhere. It's just been kind of happening along the way between Hellfires and just random
Minion
three
trading.
power, yeah, random three power
Yeah.
shots. And Life Coach has got to do something though. He's only got a few seconds left in this turn.
Well, I
Big
mean,
Game
the 15
Hunter
seconds.
is. Oh gosh, he's gonna draw some
Oh,
cards
he's
here.
got to
He's
draw
healing.
more? Oh my god.
I mean, I think he's got to find a way to actually push his damage. He finally picks up an Innervate, but it's not going to be able to use this turn. And what on earth is Strifecro going to do this turn? He's got so much facing down. I mean, I gotta think he's going to use Siphon Soul here.
Well, you would think that you're facing the double combo druid too, right? So silencing the Watcher and killing the BGH, and then Siphon Souling the 5/5 also lets you hero power and also lets you push for 3 more damage. I think that's a very easy clear. But is there a better move than that?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be concerned about double combo. If he hits the if he hits the Big Game Hunter and then Siphon Souls afterwards, he's going to move his life total up to 14, which is directly in combo range. But he hasn't seen an Innervate at this point either. So if Life Coach had combo and an Innervate, that's 15 points of damage. And if he's this far into his deck, it's so likely that if he has combo, he also has an Innervate to go with it.
That's true. So I think Strifecro is gonna go along with the silence and siphon play, just siphoning as an assassinate. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's going to keep his 4/5 healthy, and he's going to attack the Big Game Hunter.
Really?
Face. Yeah. Wow. He's going to be safe.
He's gonna play safe. I mean, playing safe is really, really good here. I mean, you get a free 6/6. Your opponent has to deal with the 6/6.
Well, it's a lot of pressure on the board, and 3 more damage going to face. Life Coach is down to 9, and he's facing down a 6/6 and 2 1-health minions. He's got 2 swipes.
All
Picks
right.
up Druid of the Claw.
Well, you know what? If a swipe goes down on this Inferno and the Keeper also comes down, then Strefko is going to be at the magical 14. Oh my god.
What to do?
This is funny because it's like both players calling each other's bluffs, right?
Yeah, I mean, what can they do?
Safeguard the land.
Just got to go for it.
Innervate is available here if he wants to drop a Shredder. Up, there you go. And now Strefko has to deal with this board because if I was him, I would be super afraid of the second combo coming out.
Well, I feel like he's got a pretty good turn against this one, though.
Oh! That Argus! We're gonna make some
I
balls here.
I mean, I feel like his entire turn is just really good. He's got so many options available to him.
Well, the option that sticks out the most right now for me is the Twilight Drake Hero Power and then Argusing both.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I'm looking at.
Yep. I mean, Life Coach already used double BGH, so you know the last thing that could have that could actually kill your things is Black Knight. So yeah, 7/7 taunted up is actually perfectly fine.
I can't disagree with you there. Yeah,
Alright.
I think it's what he's going for too.
Yep.
Wow, another huge turn for Strifecro. Life Coach going to drop to 6 here. And he
Time is
needs,
ticking.
yeah, he needs some action right now. Nourish gets drawn for Life Coach. It seems like this deck's dedicated so heavily to just drawing cards.
You don't say. So what do we do here? What Shredder minion could be good? Does the Sorcerer's Apprentice is it good here?
Well, we're gonna have to find out. I think you should be definitely attacking first. Figure out what you get, and Cruel Taskmaster is not gonna be it. And I gotta think that somewhere in here there's just not really much you can do about it. I mean, I think at this point he probably is just gonna have to wild growth until it's Black Knight. We don't even know he's running Black Knight. He has so many a little bit stranger 1-drops and stuff. I'm sorry, like 1-ofs and stuff, like Nourish, and he's got Pilot Sky. He's got 2 copies of Azure Drake. I mean, I'm not sure Black Knight even fits into this list right now.
Well, he can actually live if he uses Swipe and Drift the Claw and kill the 2 taunts. And he'll be down to 1 health. But he's gonna go and Draw a card. This is the best phase for Lifecoach. The last 50 seconds of turn. That's where he does everything. And oh
my gosh, does
is
he have
that
time
a
to...
card? No, oh.
Wow. No, it just wasn't enough. Strifecro gonna take game one. Wow,
Strifecro
what
takes
a
the side,
long game that one was. And just really the story of that one is Lifecoach having to pull the trigger to go all in because he had 8 points of reach in his hand and
Right.
9 if you count hero power. So if Strifecro didn't have Jiraxis